Good afternoon. I think we're going to try to get started because we have a lot of money to give out. Is everybody ready to receive $128,000? Welcome and thank you for coming this afternoon. I think this is actually our third annual Big Give. When we distribute the earnings from our undesignated funds, and we'll also be telling you about some other gifts that were received during the year. But my name is Barb Ernico, and I am the president and CEO for the next 3.5 weeks. And then I will be retiring to do hopefully nothing at all. I think I might clean out my purse for the first year. That sounds like a good plan. But I'm delighted to be here and welcome all of you to our Big Give for my last time. And I would like to introduce our new president, who will be starting on July the 31st, but has taken time out of his schedule to come and join us today to meet you. Ralph Serpe, if you would come forward. Ralph comes to us from the Baltimore County Community Foundation, and prior to that was with the Princeton Community Foundation, and prior to that the Silicon Valley Community Foundation. He's whispering in my ear. So he comes with 20 years of experience in community foundations and is well read on donor development and service to the community. And I'll let Ralph just say a few words.
Oh,
no?
Thank you. Sure. I've never
Why not? You can wing it. But we're delighted to have Ralph. We had a 6-month search, and Ralph was by far the strongest candidate, and we're delighted that he was willing to accept this challenge and looks forward to working with all of you. So, Ralph?
Thank you. There's nothing worse than standing in the way of grant money. So I'll be brief and say I'm really looking forward to coming back to Pennsylvania. I live in York County, and the commutes have been long, especially out to Silicon Valley. But it's nice to be home, and I'm really looking forward to working with you all to make a wonderful Adams County and continue your work. Thank you.
He's a little taller than me.
I'll need a bigger purse.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, the next person people I would like to introduce is, we have board members who are here today. And I'd like to introduce on our executive committee, Sharon McGraw. She is the one who greeted you as you came in. Sharon is secretary of our board. And Rupal Shah, who is sitting at the front table here, is also a board member. And next to her is Ron Bailey, and I will be introducing him shortly. Terry Gingro, our chairman, would have been here, but he's suffering from an injury, and wrote me just before I came over to tell me that he's just not up to standing at the moment. He can barely walk. So we wish him good health and rest to get there. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn you over to Ron Bailey. As you all know, this has been a wonderful project here, growing from our first grants of $5,000 total to this year. And in 2016, we gave out $728,000 back to the community. So this is just a portion of what we do, and Ron will describe how this is given. These are our undesignated funds. We have a lot of other funds that we also distribute from. They're named funds, and they go for a lot of different purposes. But these grants, these are gifts that you wrote grants for. So we're going to let you, oh, I do have to introduce my staff, I'm sorry, oversight here. First, I'm going to introduce Bruce Hartman, he's in charge of all the money. He makes sure you get your checks. And Lisa, go ahead. Bruce Hartman, and then Lisa Donohoe, who is our Director of Community Programs, and she leads the committee that makes these distributions possible. And this is her 1-year anniversary. She started last year at the Big Give, so that's exciting. The chairman of our distribution committee is Ron Bailey. He's been on our board for the last 4 years and has served on the distribution committee all of those years. So he had a great background for bringing this committee together and carrying out this very important work. So I'm just going to turn this over to Ron Bailey.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here. As an old man said, at my age, I'm glad to be anywhere. I'm going to start by introducing Lisa Donohoe, who is just really the person that makes stuff work. So Lisa, why don't you come up?
Hello. It's wonderful getting faces with names now. Like Barbara said earlier, 1 year ago, I had just been hired. I had 3 days on the job, and they let me be the one to hand out the checks, which was just such a beautiful way to be introduced to all the nonprofits who were receiving grants that year. And now this year I get to do it again, and there are a few new faces in the crowd, and I'm very happy to get to know you and to be able to support the good that you do. I also wanted to mention there are many different sorts of funds with the Adams County Community Foundation, and one of those is agency endowments. There are 14 organizations in the county that have endowments through the Adams County Community Foundation. And this is very important it's like having a rainy day fund to sustain and support the organization when funding that was expected does not come through. To put it nicely, right, Terry? Okay, so this year, 5 of those organizations have received earnings from their agency endowments, and those are, if you're here and you'd like to stand and be recognized because you've done a very smart thing, Adams County Arts Council Endowment, $2,900. The Adams County Library System, $2,500 this year earnings. The Canner Education Fund of the Upper Adams School District. The Thunderbolt Foundation, the Thunderbolt Foundation with the Littlestown Area School District, and the Adams County Bar Foundation Fund, which is $19,900 this year. So thank you all, and now, the part you've been waiting for, Ron Bailey.
Okay, I just want to put in a quick little plug for the Adams County Community Foundation itself. I'm off script, so I've been with the foundation for about 4 years, and you come to Gettysburg. It's a city where there's lots of things to do, and you know, I encourage you and others you may know to take a look at such organizations because it really helps you to get involved in the community, helps you to develop friendships. I've gotten to understand Gettysburg better in the time that I've served, and develop relationships that make things happen. And after 3 years of serving on the distribution committee, Barbara Ernico took me in the back room under a light bulb. and I got an offer I couldn't refuse. So I've been grateful. I've learned more in these last 6 months than I have in all these years. Okay, without further ado, your invitations for today invited you to attend the Adams County Community Foundation Big Give event. Giving is what the foundation does. Giving is why we build endowment funds. Giving is why we manage our investments. Giving is why we work to understand the community's needs. Giving is how the foundation assists Adams County in being strong and vibrant, a community that it is. The foundation currently has assets of over $10.9 million and distributed over $728,000 to the community last year. We do that through named scholarships, through donor-advised funds where the donor remains part of the distribution process, through agency funds where earnings are poured right back into the named agency for its use, and through field of interest funds that donors set up to support specific causes or specific interest. And we do that through undesignated funds, which is why we are here today. Undesignated funds are those established by donors who over the past 30 years have seen the value in establishing funds that provide the foundation with the general resources to address current community needs in perpetuity. Thank you to the Thomas E. Florence B. Metz Fund, the Margaret True Klein Youth and Families Fund, the Community Impact Fund, the Rita and Fred Deal Endowment Fund, the Ben Franklin Fund, the Donald H. and Mildred C. Hershey Fund, the M.C. Jones Fund, the John R. White Fund, the George H. and Roberta B. Wood Fund, and the Gail and Peter Hull Fund. I'd like to point out to you that the Ben Franklin Fund is indeed that Ben Franklin who, 225 years ago, left a testamentary bequest that is still giving back to Pennsylvania communities. The others I named are all from your friends and your neighbors here in Adams County, whose contributions will be making a major impact in this community 225 years from now. These funds generated $181,000 to be distributed this year. Today, we're distributing just shy of $128,000. The committee set aside $32,500 to address the lack of affordable housing and other initiatives identified in the 2015 needs assessment. The remaining $20,000 will be distributed as matching funds at the annual giving spree sponsored by the foundation each November. At last year's giving spree, donations of over $331,000 were made directly to the Adams County charities. You may have noticed the sample decal on the sign-in table as you arrived. In the next few weeks, all organizations that have received funds from the foundation will receive a main decal designating the organization as a grant recipient. And additional decals showing each year's grants were received from 2008 to present. We hope that you will display them with pride in a window or on the front door of your office. We have also had these two banners made, as you see here, one suitable for outdoors and the other one is for indoors. To be displayed at events funded by Adams County Community Foundation, just call to arrange to borrow one. Today's recipients all participated in a competitive grant process. It started in February with the foundation holding a grant writing seminar. In May, the foundation's distribution committee reviewed 44 proposals from 41 Adams County nonprofit organizations. The distribution committee has 11 members, 5 from the foundation board, and 6 at-large community members. The members of the distribution committee, along with the foundation staff, invested many hours in the due diligence process, reviewing each proposal, personally meeting with the organizations, and assessing the impact each request will have on Adams County. In June, the distribution committee recommended 33 projects to the foundation board of directors for funding. The board approved the recommendations and checks totaling $127,913 will be distributed here today. Would the distribution committee members who are present please stand? There are a few of us here. I see Sharon's here. This is not what's my line. This is okay. It was like, what's my line, you know? Okay, so now the fun part starts. I'm going to list the recipients and the projects so you all can get an idea of the wonderful scope and diversity of the work everyone here in the room is performing. When I read off your organization, if a representative from the organization would please come forward to receive the check. Afterward, please stay so that a group photo may be taken. All right, here we go.
I'll be your Vanna White.
She's going to turn the... All right, first of all, Adams County Community Television received a grant of $1,000 from the funds set aside for community impact. And this grant, $1,000, is for a 2017 rent support. Okay. Our next recipient is Adams County Arts Council, who received $1,000 from the Rita and Fred Deal Endowment Fund, and this is to help with the new membership challenge. All right, the next recipient is again the Adams County Arts Council for a $5,000 grant from the Deal Fund and the Thomas E. and Florence B. Metz, and this is to assist with the Eat Smart, Play Hard program. Okay, now we get a new one. The next grant will go to Adams County Library System, who is receiving $10,452 from the Thomas E. and Florence B. Metz Fund, and this is for their website development. Good. Our next recipient is the Adams County SPCA for $6,000, which comes from the Metz Fund. That is to assist with the neutering of 4 life spay and neuter program. Our next recipient is Orangeville Community Fire Company Incorporated, which is receiving a grant for $5,550 from the MC Jones Fund and the John R. White, and this is for the tower fire apparatus replacement and upgrade.
But they are actually on a fire call right now.
Oh, they really deserve it.
Catching up with them later.
Okay. All right. In like manner, the next recipient is the Barlow Volunteer Fire Company, which is receiving a grant of $3,000 from the Ben Franklin Fund and the MC Jones Fund. And this is for the replacement of equipment for hazardous atmosphere detectors. All right. The next one is the Borough of Gettysburg, which is receiving $10,000 from the Metz Fund and the Margaret True Klein Youth and Families Fund for Bizer Fitness and Trail relocation. Our next recipient, the Buchanan Valley Volunteer Fire Department, which is receiving $8,500 from the Metz Fund for the Rescue Tool Project. Our next recipient is the Children's Aid Society, which is receiving $5,000 grant, again from the Metz Fund, for God's Closet Remodeling Project.
Sorry. Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next one is Collaborating for Youth, a check in the amount of $2,207, again from the Metz Fund for Youth Positive Messaging Campaign. Conewago Valley School District, $4,504 from the Metz Fund for technology integration in FCS. Our next recipient is Cross Keys Community Park, $2,000 from the Mets Fund for walking trail fitness stations.
Don't think they have arrived.
Okay, all right. Our next recipient is Diacon Child, Family, and Community Ministries, $1,050 from the Community Impact Fund for Diacon Adoption and Foster Care Connections Program. Our next recipient is Dickinson College, $800 from the Mets Fund for the 2017 Migrant Labor Farm Health Outreach Program in Adams County. East Berlin Area Community Center is receiving $2,000 in a grant from the Mets Fund for building rehabilitation for windows in the gym.
I think they also had trouble with the weather, so.
Okay. Next is Family First Health. They're receiving a grant of $10,000 from the Mets Fund for behavioral health programs.
Family first. I think that's it now. I believe everybody else is here.
Okay, good. So I'll take the black mark off their name. Okay, I tell everybody that. Don't take it personal. All right, let's go to the Gettysburg Brass and Band Festival. They're getting $1,000 from the Mets Fund for the 2018 Gettysburg Brass Band Festival. Next up is Gettysburg Cares, $10,000 grant from the Mets Foundation for admin costs, salaries, and utilities, and a copier. Next, the Gettysburg Chamber Orchestra is receiving a grant for $1,500 from the Mets Foundation for the Dvorak concert September 6, 2017. Next up, the Gettysburg Children's Choir is receiving $1,100 from the Donald H. and Mildred C. Hershey Fund for scholarships and special honor choir events. Hamilton Band Township is receiving $2,500 in a grant from the Mets Foundation for the Community Park Project. Healthy Adams County is receiving a grant of $2,000 from the Hershey Fund for the 2018 Adams County Community Health Assessment. Historic Gettysburg Adams County is receiving $2,000 again from the Mets Fund for rooftop air conditioning units for the GAR Hall. Interfaith Center for Peace and Justice is receiving a $1,500 grant from the Community Impact Fund and the Gail and Peter Hall Fund for the 2017 Heritage Festival. Mission of Mercy is receiving a $2,000 grant from the Mets Fund for the medical staff malpractice insurance. New Hope Ministries is receiving a $5,000 grant from the Mets Foundation for the New Oxford Basic Needs Assistance and Stability Programs. Shining Star Therapeutic Ministries is receiving a $5,000 grant from the Mets Fund for the installation of interlocking pavers in the horse barn. Skills of Central PA is receiving $750 from the Mets Fund for adult training programs and craft supplies. Okay. The Brethren Home Community is receiving a $4,000 grant from the MC Jones Fund and the Donald H. and Mildred C. Hershey Fund for memory care education. All right. Waldo's and Company is receiving a $2,500 grant from the Mets Fund for Community Ceramic Studio. YWCA of Gettysburg and Adams County is receiving a $5,000 grant from the George 8 and Roberts B. Wood and MC Jones funds for security cameras. And last but not least, the Zion United Church of Christ is receiving a grant of $4,000 from the Thomas E. and Florence B. Metz Fund for their Fellowship Hall renovation. Think have we given it all away?
We have given it all away.
All
and
right.
We have done it in record time, which you think was a good thing, except that we would love to do a group photo with the big check.
Okay.
And I told the press the wrong time to come. People would speak longer.
Well, we didn't today.
I'm going to beg you to stay, drink punch, eat cookies, and I will announce to you if they tell me they can't make it quickly. I'll let you know, respect for your time, but if you would please hang around. Give me a few minutes to get hold of the newspaper.
Okay, in closing, we here at the foundation thank all of you for your dedication and work on behalf of your charities. We're pleased and honored to have been able to assist you in the work that you do. Let's give everybody a big hand for it.
Sorry, and that leaves you just standing there like time for a song, right, Ron?
Are you serious? I can do it,
If you're in Rotary, you know that Ron is often pressed into service for a song, but no, that's perfectly
How about
fine.
you want to hit something patriotic?
Sure.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above thy fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. That is worth a grant of at least $2,000. Thanks, everybody. Let's wait around and have some refreshments and hopes we'll get our picture in when our photographer arrives.